At most schools, the adults who work with children are called teachers. Sudbury Valley School rejected the term teacher in favor of the more generic term staff member. But if Sudbury staff members are not teachers, what are they for? I've brought 3 staff members from different Sudbury schools here today to share their views on the role of staff at their schools.
The role of the staff, first of all, is to find their own place. It's to really feel empowered and comfortable with who they are. And once they find that, then they can build these amazing relationships with some of the students. And I say with some of the students because it is very interesting to see how naturally some kids, for example, will constantly come to me and they want to interact with me. And sometimes it's because something that I like or something that I do, but a lot of times it's just like they're drawn to me and I cannot explain why. But then other kids would not come very often to me, but I would see that they are connecting with other staff members that are so different to me. And a lot of parents would just see, because in our school, like, this place is open, so parents can come and go and they don't have to knock or anything, they just go in. And a lot of times they will say, oh, but I'm seeing that this staff member is not interacting enough with the students, or I don't see that she's talking a lot. I mean, she seems to be very quiet. What they are missing, she's so kind and tolerant that many kids will just join her because exactly how she is. And they will enjoy having just walk with her, and they will start talking about things because they feel comfortable with her. So if we try to behave like all the staff would be doing the same things in the same way, then you would be losing that opportunity of profound connection thanks to the uniqueness of each person.
If we're a village, there's people of different ages and different types of relationships, and people keep an eye on each other. And the role of staff is the elders in the village. And we have been around longer than the kids. We have our life experience. When we first started the school, we didn't really plan any holiday parties. The staff didn't make a lot of effort on creating holiday parties because that's one of those things that, well, if it doesn't happen, it's not that terrible of a thing. The school can still operate. Whereas, if we need a website, like, we need a website, and we can't just hand it over to a student and go, well, it didn't happen. We have to make sure the website is up and it's professional and everything. So every year for a long time, we would have a party committee, and then we would have a Halloween party, and then the party committee would lose steam because the Halloween party was, well, that was a lot harder than we thought. Oh, we had to do cleanup. We didn't know we had to clean up after ourselves. Like, all of the work that goes into putting together a party. I think part of what the adult can do in a Sudbury school is help set a rhythm and set a culture that then can be handed over to students. And instead of it just being from nothing and they have to figure it out, and, oh, well, if they don't figure it out, I think the other direction would be that we can help lead something and get something into the cultural expectation and the rhythm of the community. And then when we have students who are ready to take on those roles, and they've been helping along, and then we can start handing that off to them. So that is something we've seen with parties, is we have a staff person who's helping to lead the way, and all the kids want parties. They all want Valentine's parties. They love the parties. And it's such a beautiful school memory too, to have them. You need to have someone who's setting the culture and the rhythm first, and then able to kind of pass it over to the kids. There's going to be things that you do let go, and the community kind of goes in waves at different times, and there's different things that are important to us at certain times that they aren't at other times.
We have parents who want the staff's role to be to plant seeds and to screw ideas and see how many students pick up those ideas and run with it because they're afraid that the students are somehow missing out if we don't seed the marketplace of ideas in our school with specific information. But I'm not very comfortable with that. My notion is that if a staff is interested in doing a thing, then just like any other member of our community, we should tell everyone, hey, I want to go see this movie. Hey, I want to go to this museum. Hey, I want to, go for a walk down to the creek. But we shouldn't manufacture that. We shouldn't pretend we want to go to a museum. If we're not legitimately excited, like if I wouldn't go do that thing on my own, even if not a single student came with me, then it's probably not something I should be strewing out there. Now, if I know a student's really interested in geology and there's a big thing happening with geology, I might mention it to them and see if they get excited, right? I'm not saying that we should hold back, but definitely I don't want students participating in a thing because they feel like if they don't, I'll be insulted. I get underneath cars and greasy and ugly basically on a weekly basis at this point here at Clearview. Every time I'm about to start working on a car, I wander through the school and I ask everyone that's there, hey, I'm going to go do this thing on this car. You want to come see? You want to help? And it's almost always no from almost all of the students. And that's perfect. And I want them to be comfortable saying no over and over and over again and knowing that I'm not going to be like, oh, now if I need help, I won't say, do you want to do this? I'll say, hey, I really need a hand with something. Are you willing and able to help me with it, right? But it's a very different question when it's just like, oh, I'm going to do something that's a little sketchy and I want to make sure that if I hurt myself, there's someone there to help, call for help or whatever. That's very different than, hey, do you want to help me change this tire or help me diagnose this problem?
We do sometimes create offerings, what we call offerings, or we do plan some field trips. And again, these don't come just out of like, well, I think the kids need to learn a particular topic, but because in relationship with the students and knowing who they are and what their interests are, after speaking to some kids and getting to know them, I said, would you guys ever want to do like a debate class? Because you kind of like to sit around and debate politics a lot. And they were like, yes. And so we had a debate class with like 3 or 4 kids. And that's kind of what we did. We did like, they just sat around and debated and we talked about like different concepts and strategies. And for our high schoolers, we also have something called peer meetings, which is for kids 14 and up. We'll have different topics in there that are meant to help them prepare for adulthood, help them really structure their own high school experience. All of that comes mostly from our experiences being adults and being able to say, hey, this is something that you might want to think about, or sharing some of our experience with them.
If my students don't see me making mistakes, I'm making myself something that I don't want to be at the school. So one of the reasons why I love working on cars is because I know a lot about working on cars. Most of the students here know I know a lot about working on cars. And it still doesn't work half the time. No matter how much I think I know, no matter how sure I am something's going to fix a given problem, I got a 50-50 chance on a good day that that's actually going to solve the problem. And so what I'm demonstrating as staff is that failure is okay, and that trying and trying again and coming up with a hypothesis and doing the research and all the things that happen before I actually even open the hood of the car and try and fix it are what matter. And for the students that are interested, I invite them to help me and to come up with their own ideas of what we might try on a car.
We have a higher responsibility of safety. So I don't want to say that we are the responsibles of safety, because how we have managed it in our school is we tell everybody, we are all together responsible of the safety of everyone. So if you're seeing that another person is like in danger, you should do something, and they know it. And I have seen that works. But yes, as adults, we have a higher responsibility of the safety of everyone. If we see that there's something that is really dangerous, and it could be something like in the kitchen, if they're handling a knife, and it could be something very easy. Oh, please, when you use the knife, use it in this way so that nobody gets hurt. And then the second piece that it's very important is the interaction with the parents, because the parents, they don't understand the details of what's happening here. And they don't have to, and it will be very complicated because they are not here every day for 6 hours to really see what happens here. So they have many concerns, they have fears, they have questions, and we as staff should be a resource and are a resource for them. Because if they have, like, let's say a 6-year-old student in our school, they can see that their kid is so happy and enjoy coming to the school, but he cannot explain to him or to her all the questions that the parents have in their heads. So having this conversation with the staff, it's very important and valuable.
We have to make sure the school functions and stays open. We want to make sure that the campus is in good shape, and we're with the role of keeping an eye out for dangers and risks that maybe kids don't see and help them traverse them. Building relationships with the students, getting to know who they are, spending time with them, help guide them when they need guidance, to offer ideas. Because I know this about you, I thought about this thing. Is this something that you might be interested in, or whatever? And bring in different ideas for them, help them answer their own questions, use the school systems to make their plans come true. So, if a student wants to go on a field trip or plan a trip somewhere or make a workshop, the staff are there to help them navigate that and make it happen so that they're learning self-direction, but that we're also helping to scaffold it for them so it's an appropriate level of challenge. And then, when desired, offer our worldly wisdom from having gone down life's path longer than they have.
From my perspective, it's very important to have a diverse staff that don't agree on everything, and in some ways maybe don't agree on anything, so that we can have an honest conversation about the pros and cons of all of the things that we're going to do, and then decide to move forward even in some disagreement. If every vote is unanimous, we're probably getting away from a true democracy and heading towards some version of a quiet oligarchy.
So when we are hiring staff, there's, a few very core things. One is commitment to this philosophy of education. They've got to have some depth of knowledge. A second is the way they work with kids and the way they speak to kids. We want someone who's respectful and treats kids the way that our school wants to treat kids. Really important is being a good team player. We come to each other all the time with how should we solve this problem? What do you think we should do about this? We look to each other. We all have our different areas of expertise. We respect each other. We reflect deeply on what we're doing.
The role of staff is to model all of the things, following your passion, finding the things you want to do, and then allowing the students not to care.